7th graders, it's Mrs. Arietta back for your day 3 video on how to do the English work in your 10-day packet. So let's go over the requirements of the day. First up is independent reading. Same as it will be every day, read for 30 minutes and then complete the reading log, which means having your parents sign off on it and writing a paragraph about whatever it is that you read. The next thing it wants you to do is reread sources 1 through 3 about the invasive plant species, because for the writing, you are going to do some constructed response questions. It's just going to ask you some very basic questions about the 3 sources so that you are more prepared to start the argumentative essay tomorrow. So the first thing that you need to do, I can't really help you with it. You got to do this by yourself. So you're going to answer questions 1 and 2 on the first page of the selected/constructed response questions. For the first question, you're looking for which source provides the most relevant information for the situation that is provided. Which source had the best and most relevant facts? For the second one, there is a paragraph that you need to read, and there's 4 options, sentences A through D. Now, the information in one of those sentences came directly from a source, but it was not properly cited or credited. So it didn't say where that information came from and therefore was plagiarism. You need to figure out which sentence had something taken directly from one of the sources that you read. Very important that you read the sources. Go ahead and pause this video. If you need to do this step, I'm going to move on to the next section. So the other thing you need to do is write 3 citations to support Kaylin's report claim that invasive plants can be costly, that this takes a lot of money to get rid of them, and they can cost the community greatly. You're going to pick 3 relevant quotes from any of the sources, but don't just jump in by being like, here's the quote, here's exactly what it said in the article, let's move on. Try to write an introduction for the quote. This is how it would look in your essay anyway, so you should try to make it into a complete sentence. And I've provided for you 4 different ways that you can introduce your quote, so you're not just jumping into it. And in some of them, they actually will help you be crediting or citing your source properly. So the first idea is to just have a sentence that introduces the quote, end that sentence with a colon, which is 1 dot on top of the other, and then you have the quote exactly as it appears in the text. So that would be an example like, invasive plants are bad for other plants. That's a whole statement on its own. You put the colon in, and then you can throw the quote after it. Technically, that counts as a sort of compound sentence. The next one, you can also begin a sentence in your own words and then complete the sentence with quoted words. I like to do this one. This is my favorite. I start to explain the idea in my own words, coming from me. And then I'll finish the thought with whatever the expert said, whatever the quote from that passage says. So maybe you start the idea, but there's a description or a fact in the articles that really perfectly match what you want to say. Throw it in there. Use it as a substitute for what you would have said, or you can use it as a description for something. You can use quotes in all sorts of ways. You don't just have to throw in a full statement. I love to take specific descriptions that authors put and throw them into a sentence of my own, in quotation marks, of course, and with the proper citation, which is the parentheses and the author's last name and page number if we're doing MLA. Tomorrow we'll talk about citations for your actual essays. Another one that's very popular is to just use an introductory phrase, naming the source followed by a comma. According to plant research people, or whatever the author of the text is, or whatever organization provided the source, you should just say, according to those people, and then throw the quote in as they said it. The last one is to introduce a critic or a researcher's with a descriptive verb, followed by a comma. So author, whatever their name is, stated, remarked, explained, said. Pick a verb and throw it in, and then whatever was in the source, word for word, then you put it in quotes after. Kind of like dialogue if we were writing a narrative. So those are just 4 ways that you can introduce quotes, and it's a great way to get some practice before you get into the actual essay. So I would definitely try to mix it up. try to do 3 of these 4 options so that you can get the practice of it. But with that, that is all of the English work for today. It's not a lot to do. So I will see you guys for the next video where we'll talk about day 4 of your packet. Bye.